guys, today we're going to do a restoration job on some tin snips. I find most of the tin snips you buy these days, they don't last very long and they're pretty flimsy and crap. But these old ones, they're made in England. They're actually really good if you restore them and resurface the cutting edges on them. Now, I brought a couple from the market today for $5 each. So if you look closely at these ones here, you can see all through there it's very pitted, and like trying to cut with these things is just, it's just really tough. I mean, a bit of 1mm plate. It just chews at it. So yeah, bit of an effort. So what we're going to do is correct that. So here's the other pair I got today, and first thing you got to do is actually separate them. These ones here, they've been mucked around with, and they've had a bolt put in and it's been welded and beaten to all sorts of things. But these ones here, they still had the factory sort of rounded edge bolt here, which I tried to undo and I couldn't undo it. So I couldn't hold it with my vice grips because it kept on slipping. So what I did was I got my file and I filed a flat edge on it so I could get a big crescent on it. And when I did, I twisted it really hard and it snapped. You can see that it just completely shore the bolt off. Which meant on the inside of the other one, there was this piece stuck in it. Now that was sticking out there like that, and that bolt was on there. So I undid the bolt and this was jammed fully in there. So I got a small drill and I drilled in first, then I got my bigger one, I drilled further down in, and then basically I just punched it through, punched it out, and that was the little pieces that were on the inside of this piece here, and that was the other part of the bolt. So if you were putting it all together, it would look something like that. If you can see that, come around there a bit. That's what it was inside. So then I just put one nice big drill through to get everything to a nice uniform diameter. So with these ones, they were the same as that. They were very messed up through here, and what you do is you have to understand the principle of these shears, is that this part is the cutting edge. So when you've got two together like this, that's your cutting edge and that's a cutting edge. Now these cutting edges here are hardened. So when you put them like that, that edge is hardened and that edge is hardened. This is soft. This is softer metal. So in order to get these to become nice and smooth, what I did was I put them in the vise here, like this. I held them like that. And it's very important when you're filing, because I've just used an old flat file here I've got. It's a fine one, and what I do is I hold it very flat, so I just put it down to feel the angle is flat, because what you want to do is do everything on that angle right the way through, because that's your cutting edge. So I hold it flat and I just move it backwards and forwards, and you may think you're not going anywhere or doing anything, but you are. Just got to hold it dead flat. It's very important. And see, there's still a little bit of pitting in that one there, but it's okay because it's away from that very edge. So I just keep going. Holding the file very firmly. And I just get my straight edge. And I hold it down here. on this angle here. And see how that's just so nice and straight through there. It's flat all the way through. You can see that anywhere you put it. So I keep doing that until that is completely shiny. Then I twist it a little bit. Now, as you can see from the angle, you might be able to see from the light that that is all in one direction. You can see that it's one plane, so to speak. Now, I have a smaller file here, and with this one, what I did is I just go around here, and I don't go onto that flat edge there, but I'm just looking at this edge right here, along there. So what I'm doing is I'm just sweeping that along, like that. And I've done it to that one, and I've done it to this one. This one here can probably just have another quick little tidy up. Once again, here's my flat edge going through. This is where the two surfaces will contact to make the cutting. So they're the most important edges, is that little piece through there and that little piece through there. You do not want to file too much off that end or too much off this end. Otherwise it will be either too much of a gap or too tight. It's just a case of just doing it, nice and flat, and just keep checking with your ruler. Let's do a few more files, check away, hold it nice and flat. You can feel it, that it'll center itself. If you put some weight on the file blade and go like that, it will go to the point where it's flat, and that's where you just move it. Nice amount of pressure. Keep on doing that until it's flush through there. Keep doing that, checking as you go. Right, so that's lovely. Just going to tidy up that little edge through there. See, I'm going nowhere near that angle, I'm on this angle, if you understand. Okay, so here we have the two pieces back together, and what you can do is you can pop your bolt in. Now this bolt's obviously far too long, but it'll do in the meantime. It's the right width, so, and then I can just, if you can hear that noise, that means that the edges that cut are touching as it goes through its working motion. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a drop of oil on there. Smear that along there like that. So those, let's get rid of all of this rubbish over here, the old bolt that was in there. This has got a lock nut on it. Now what I will do is put a washer on each face and then a spring washer. And when I tension it down, what that will do is it'll hold a uniform pressure between these as I use them to cut. So what I'll do is I'll just tighten this up. Like that. The next thing we'll do after, if this all works really well when the shop's open again on Monday, or maybe even Sunday, we'll buy some washers and some paint, and we will finish the restoration of this. So we don't want this too tight, simply because it doesn't have to be really, really tight. It's just got to be a little bit of firmness on it. Right, sounds good. If you look, the blades, look down here, the blades as I'm closing them, they meet nice and evenly. You really want to try and hear that sound, it's nice and even. So what we'll do now is we'll just get our 1mm plate out. This is mild steel again with our sharpened ones, and just give this a bit of a test and see how we go. See those? Oh man, this is heaps easier. Wow, makes all the difference in the world. So pretty much what we're going to do now is I'll get some washers on each side of this so we can set that tension up. I'll hacksaw all that through there. And the other thing I did just with the surfaces of it that were very rusty, like these surfaces here, keeping well away from the cutting edges, is these bits here, is I just got my little sort of sanding thing here on the end of my drill, and I just went along keeping well away because we do not want this touching that edge there, so just to get the rust off those parts there. So I just went around there, and on the outside there, that edge there is that edge there, so I just went over it. Get rid of that sort of yucky looking rough, and just a bit around there. Now you could go over the whole thing like this, but realistically all you really need to do is to give them a good wipe down with some sort of like a white petrol or turpentine or something along those lines, and then what I generally do, just give them a wee bit of a sand up. And as I say, I haven't wiped these down yet because they'll be a bit oily and yucky, so I'll give them a bit of a sand up and then a wipe down. And then when we paint them, what we're going to do is we'll just put a little bit of masking tape over our cutting edge so we don't get any paint on those. Just those little bits through there, and we'll hang it up and we'll give it a paint job, and that'll be finished. So I'll add that bit of footage when we get that part done. So yeah, look, these a whole lot better quality than a lot of the cheap rubbish you can buy. So yeah, spend a little bit of time, really take your time with the file, holding it nice and flat. You may think that it feels like it's kind of slipping off and it's not biting in, but it is. You've just got to just go over and over and over on those cutting edges. Very important to get those flat. Keep checking with your steel rule that you've got those edges nice and flat. Just keep checking, and you can't go wrong. If for any reason you find that the blades are not meeting properly, you know, there's too much gap, you can put a little bit more tension on, and sometimes that'll help just pull those two cutting edges back together. And remember to put a bit of oil on the inside, and there you have it. So we'll do a follow-up with the painted item when she's all finished, and yeah, something really nice to use when you're making your projects, and certainly something to be proud of because you've refaced it instead of buying something used. Recycling, repurposing, and that type of thing. Excellent. Hey, thanks for watching. So here we go, guys. What's happened is I've pulled them to pieces and I've painted them in a machinery grey, and they're now dry. So I'll just take this down. Okay, so we've got the two pieces. Now what I did was I just put some masking tape over the cutting face. So I got the tape and I put it out there like that, and I got a razor blade and I just trimmed around to get the shape. So if we pull that off now, you'll see that part's protected from the paint. And what I'll do now is I'll grab the bolt. So here's the bolt. So what we're going to do is you're going to pop a wee bit of oil on that face and smear that down through there like that. those together. Bolt goes through there like that. What I'm going to do with this is just put a fibre washer on for a start, because I think there's going to be enough tension, and I've got it so well filed that I think that we're not going to need a spring, so we'll try it this way. Spring washer. Maybe just a tiny wee bit more. Tension. So all that really remains now is just to trim this bolt off here, and we have our fully restored tin snips. Ready to go. Thanks for watching. Cheers.